administration announced that there is no so-called Jeffrey Epstein client list. There are powerful voices in the MAGA base beyond what you heard even, for whom this is a very big issue. They're not buying it, and my panel joins me now. David Urban, did you ever think that this would be a thing that would sort of break apart MAGA, whether it's temporary or not?
No, I mean, I don't think, and at the end of the day, I don't know if it's going to break apart MAGA, but the issue is bigger. Steve Bannon, I think, nails it here directly. It's really not about Jeffrey Epstein. It's about accountability. And I think the base, you heard Trump talk about this for a long time. There's a two-tier system of justice in America. And the elites get protected, and the FBI protects them, and the deep state protects them. And I think that's what the base is looking at here, the MAGA base is looking at. They want accountability for people who may or may not be on this list, who may be rich and powerful and famous, and that somehow the government, writ large, is looking the other way. And they see large investigations on January 6th, on Russiagate, on the president, on these huge investigations that take years, and they think, why aren't we putting the same sort of resources in here when there was child sex abuse involved and very powerful people? And so that lends itself to not just, the kind of fringe elements saying this, but a lot of rational, reasonable people are asking, why aren't we looking at this more deeply?
So after the president, during a cabinet meeting, got angry at a New York Post reporter for asking why anybody is still talking about the Epstein files, he heard the answer to that, and it's because his base obviously is hearing about it. He put out a very long post on his social media platform yesterday. I'll just read part of it. We're on one team, MAGA, and I don't like what's happening. We have the perfect administration, the talk of the world, and selfish people are trying to hurt it all over a guy who never dies, Jeffrey Epstein. For years, it's Epstein over and over again. 1 year ago, our country was dead. And he went on to say that we need to not waste time and energy on Epstein. So that was not, I'm going to bring you in, but that was not, I think it actually maybe perhaps made things worse for some people who have very loud megaphones in the MAGA base. Let's just watch one, Benny Johnson.
By admitting that the Epstein files are real and have been written, and that you've read them and you don't like their contents and they were written by your enemies, doesn't make the most compelling case, as far as I'm concerned. Holy moly.
A lot of people might not remember this, but the White House wound this up. They promised and they pledged this. Dan Bongino, a bunch of others said that they would release the Epstein files. And on February 27th, they brought in, the White House did, to the White House, 15 influencers to say, hey, hold these binders and walk out of the White House with these binders that say the Epstein files, phase 1. And there were two things going on there. One is they thought that they could delude a lot of the right wing, that, hey, we've released the Epstein files. Look, you're holding them. And to their credit, a lot of the right-wing influencers said, baloney, all you've given us is the stuff that's already publicly available. So they felt used and suckered. They said, where's my phase 2? Where's my phase 3? So I would say to Donald Trump, you wound this up. You caused this, and I think I'm on the side of these right-wing influencers who say, hey, if you want to be a paragon of virtue and say you want to take on the powerful, and Epstein, we got a bunch of Jane Does and John Does in those, release them, unredacted.
Kristen, Steve Bannon says that this could cost Republicans the House because the base will be depressed and not show up in the midterms.
Well, we've got a long way to go until the midterms, but certainly you don't want to be in a situation where your most devoted supporters are threatening to withhold their vote. I don't think it's likely that the MAGA base is suddenly going to decide to vote for Democrats, but you don't want to have any portion of your coalition depressed, especially if you're headed into an election where you're the party in power. And this goes to this bigger dynamic of being the party in power or being the folks in charge is more challenging than being the opposition. Being the opposition, you can sit on the outside and you can say, hey, don't you think things are terrible? Vote for me and we'll make it better. When you're in charge, you have to deliver. And especially if you've made big promises, not delivering on that can really matter. The thing that I do think will help Republicans or save Trump from too much damage in the situation is I'm actually not confident that the median American voter is as spun up over this as somebody who is online. And so there are a lot of people in Trump's coalition who are not plugged into right-wing influencers or the online conversation. They just want to know, is the economy getting better?
Congresswoman?
So the election. What you're seeing here is Trump's coalition fall apart. And we're going to get to this, but what did I say the Democrats need to do? for once in their life, play a little bit of politics, right? To go for the jugular a little bit, to say, hey, this is dividing the MAGA coalition. And yes, there are rumors, of course, that very prominent Democrats are also potentially on the list. Maybe, who knows, right? It's all speculation because Trump and Bondi are burying the list, right? But even if there are some prominent Democrats on it, look, Trump himself seems more implicated than any Democrat currently in office. Democrats need to seize this moment. And so what you're seeing is them really lean into it. And this part expands upon that.
For this to go away, you're going to lose 10% of the MAGA movement. If we lose 10% of the MAGA movement right now, we're going to lose 40 seats in 26. We're going to lose the president. They don't even have to steal it, which they're going to try to do in 28, because they're going to sit there and they've disheartened the hardest core populist nationalists that's always been who governs us.
Okay, so that wasn't it. This is it. What I wanted to play, although Steve Bannon's analysis, I think, is probably right.
I do. I think
but
that's
this
right.
is,
Yeah.
hold on, but this is element 5.
Okay.
Do you believe that DOJ and FBI right now, with the guys who we're all close to, Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, do you think they have any credibility left to pursue this?
No, and I'll tell you exactly why, Steve, because in 2016, we trusted the plan with Trump. But now Trump has become the deep state. The exact thing we voted him in.
Why do you say he's become the deep state?
What is more deep state than covering up for pedophiles? Why would you go to that island? Why? Tell me, why would you go to that island? Why would you go on the plane?
I mean, he
why
has
can't people go on
become
that plane,
the
Heath?
deep state. This is, they caught the card. Folks are mad.
The car is burning.
And the other element of this, and you hear it there in Steve Bannon's remarks, is the only reason that some of these folks are in these positions, crazy-eyed Kash Patel at the head of the FBI, four-shirt Steve Bannon. I mean, these guys they should not be in these roles.
Right.
Dan Bongino, the only reason that they are there is because they were the lead spokespeople for this nonsense on their podcasts every day, whatever crazy place that they were spouting these theories. And you see the result there. People are so bought into this. And that is really the only reason that they are there, is to deliver this bill of goods that's just not there.
And Anthony, I think it's really rich that now suddenly Donald Trump, who ran against the deep state and had all these people believing in the deep state, now has his people saying he is now the deep state.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. It's because when you create this idea that something's happening that no one was really talking about, now all of a sudden they're jumping into it.
So I do think there was some element of truth to the prior clip you played about Steve Bannon and the politics of this.
Oh, yeah, no, the politics.
Right, when you
dead
think
on.
about the universe of Trump supporters, I'm going to oversimplify it, but you basically have people who, non-MAGA supporters who voted for Trump on issues, right? Economy, immigration, they voted for Trump because they didn't like Kamala Harris, right? You've got that set of people. But then on the other side, you've got these hardcore MAGA, like they are ride or die, or they were ride or die, right? They believe everything Trump says about Obama and birtherism. They believe the big lie. On this one, it's different because Trump himself was implicated, right? This all happened on his watch. And so Bannon if the MAGA stays home in these midterms, if MAGA, doesn't do what MAGA does, it really could be a threat to Trumpism.
I mean, at the end, yes.
It's a perfect MAGA hurricane.
But at the same
Perfect MAGA
time,
hurricane.
we've seen this before, like over and over and over again, where something pissed off the MAGA base and then Trump is able to wriggle his way out of it. He's very good at convincing them that the sky is pink.
Right. So here's what could happen, right? So, like if you were in a normal administration, right, somebody has to take the fall, right, before you get to the big person. And so before whether or not Trump will end up surviving this, and he will, but I don't know that Bongino will or Pam Bondi will. Somebody's head is going to have to roll.
Well, they haven't satisfied.
so.
They haven't satisfied what the base needs. They want something. They've got to throw out some raw meat. And there's, for right now, nothing that they can throw the base. And so are they just going to get completely caught up? Because it is a perfect storm in that, look at Pizzagate. From Pizzagate until here, there's a through line of obsession with pedophilia, getting other people, getting Democrats who are pedophiles. So they say this is the big conspiratorial lie. But look, now they can't. They have nothing to give.
And there's something, it says something about the party that Donald Trump has created and the politics of that party, that of all the lies that this guy has told his supporters, that he was going to lower consumer prices, but then he raised tariffs, that he was going to take us out of conflicts in the Middle East, but then he's entering us into them. All of these lies. This one, this one is the one that is causing the problems. I don't know what the American people are going to think about this.
Can we put up element 2 again? Because this is what Elise was talking about, the shifting stances. February 21st, Bondi says the client list is on her desk. 17th, the DOJ memo says there ain't no client list. But check out July 12th, which was yesterday.
Yep.
Trump. There are Epstein files, but they were written by Obama, Clinton, and Biden. This, to me, is the biggest tell. Why is Trump injecting himself in this and hurling and going to his tried and true distraction method, which is saying it's Obama's fault, it's Biden's fault, it's Clinton's fault, it's everyone else's fault but mine, which makes me think, and I would love to hear from...
So Ro Khanna, kind of building on this, Ro Khanna yesterday, this Saturday, so I'm assuming coming this week in Congress, is putting forward a motion to open the Epstein files in the House of Representatives. Now, of course, Republicans control the House, but he can put forward a special motion that would get a vote going and would, at least according to the rules as he's saying, force everybody in Congress to do a heads up, heads down vote. Basically saying to all the Republicans and all the Democrats in Congress, time to put up or shut up. Do you think we should force the Trump government to open the Epstein files? And if you do, vote with me. And if you don't, if you support protecting the Epstein associates, vote no. And it's important to realize that there's going to be a lot of Republicans really under pressure here because on the one hand, voting with a Democrat is something Republicans don't want to do because, again, their overriding goal is to own the libs. But on the other hand, from the comments I saw on Elon's right-wing social media Twitter, right, from very MAGA accounts, they seem very supportive of Roe's motion. And I think that tells me that some MAGA Congress people are going to feel real pressure to go against Trump and Trump's DOJ and demand the release of the list. And if they don't, they're going to get primaried by the far right. And in some of these districts, the far right could win. And if they do go with Trump, or if they don't go with if they do go with the MAGA group, they risk pissing off Trump and getting primaried by a different kind of MAGA. It's a brilliant move by Roe.